said that Redforce is the enemy here. Yes. Just to correct, maybe I can also be corrected by the community. Are we sure Redforce is the enemy and not the municipality? Just listen quickly. Sorry, just listen quickly. I'm not in favor of Redforce. From my side, I say let's divorce Redforce. Just listen.
Please, let's have order, please. Councillor, let me give you.
I think they can hear.
Can you hear? Yes.
Yes. Why I'm saying that Redforce applied apparently for this without us as councillors knowing. They also applied. So they got this tender. The question now is, where is the problem? Is it by the councillors, administration, or Redforce? Redforce tendered for this. They got the tender. Now they just started switching off water left, right, and center. Are the administration maybe responsible? Are the councillors responsible? From my side, what Mr. Elvis asked now, what do we think about Redforce? For one, I don't agree with Redforce. From the beginning, when we heard Redforce was here, the problem started. Not for you on the ground, but for us as councillors. We were a few councillors that fight this thing inside. Unfortunately, we are not majority, so we had to argue this out. I'm not going to blame any councillor. We are all involved. We are all councillors. We have to take responsibility, full responsibility for our actions. So from my side, we had a meeting yesterday. I will wait for them to respond to the letter that you guys sent to them. I won't talk much about the meeting that we had, but from my side personally as a councillor, I feel that we must divorce Redforce. We don't want Redforce. Unfortunately, it's not just for me to say. You just mentioned correctly and said we are 10 councillors. And if 10 councillors are not in agreement, then I don't know what will happen at the end of the day. But once we are in agreement as 10 councillors bringing changes to this town, I don't even think this meeting would have taken place. If we have decided together that we don't want Redforce here. So from my side, I would say let's divorce Redforce.
Redforce is the enemy. I will just try and swipe it around just a little bit and say the administration is my enemy. This is simply because as we are here in serving the communities, we were supposed to be 10. We were divided in half. That's the message. You have the message in front of you? Yes. You can see the message in front of you? Yes. That is where we are. Right. As for those who are not here, we are here because of the electorate that put us into this office. So our biggest enemy is that we are not working as a team. And we are always going to have these differences. And our differences must not take out the right of the residents in the communities. Because we are here to give a service. So in regard to Redforce, it was said it's a parasite, it's an enemy, and so forth. Is that I have nothing to tell about Redforce. But I'm happy to stand here and to say that I have no knowledge as to how Redforce was appointed. I am the leader of this town, democratically elected. But you ask a question, how does Councillor Shozi say? I leave it into your hands, the residents. But we are going to divorce Redforce by end of this month, April the 30th. We have a council ordinary meeting on April 30th. This month in April, we are not sure whether it will be in Quisam or whether it will be in town. We're gonna lay and table the motion. It will be tabled by myself to say that done, and that will be the last day of Redforce. I thank you.
Now, 3 years ago, when we came onto the council, we found to our horror that there was a debt outstanding from Walvis Bay, residents, businesses all over, of 384 million. We said, well, how does it get to 384 million? They all looked a bit sheepish. I'm talking about the administration. So we asked them, do you have a credit control policy? They said, yes, we got one. We said, well, why don't you use it? No, they looked a bit sheepish. There was political interference. We were told by managers, don't worry about him, he'll pay. Don't worry him, don't chase him up, don't. And this is how it escalated to that final amount, what we're running with today, 384 million. It's come down, but anyway. Redforce, in its manifesto, whatever, which we did read, was appointed by the administration because we as councillors said to them, you better start getting the money in. We can't build roads, we can't do bulk services, we cannot do anything if we don't get the money in. We're running at a ridiculous figure of 21 million a month just on salaries for the admin. So where do we go? We must get the money in. We told them, you must now make a plan and get the money in. They put out a bid. Redforce got the bid, and they started. We woke up and we said, who's Redforce? He said, no, we've appointed them. There's the contract signed. And we asked them, why didn't you come and ask or tell us as council that you'd done this? Silence. Absolute silence. We're sitting now with Redforce, and what happened was, as soon as they got the contract signed, they took all the accounts, every single one on their books, and they pushed it over to Redforce. It's easy, one stroke on a computer, bang. Everything went to Redforce, and everybody got a note to say that your account is overdue, you better start paying. So, we have the whole population now just slapped with one foul stroke of the admin to say that you all owe the money and you better start paying it, and these are our conditions, and get going. First of all, we are all civilized human beings. You do not treat people like that. If you wanted to use Redforce, give each and every citizen a piece of paper that says, we want to appoint Redforce to come and collect our debt. They didn't do it, they just slapped them all, one way. And my fellow councillors can bear me out. I said to them at the meeting yesterday, there are a couple of things that we have to have done by the administrator now. First of all, about getting your act together. First of all, they must really have a look at what they're doing now. The first mistake they made was not to ask for council's blessing to do this. The second mistake they made was just to shove everything over onto the Redforce's book, debt book. So the third thing that we need from them is a full-page apology in all our local newspapers to you, the public, for doing that just one time. The next thing they have to do, and they better start doing it, is to get Redforce to the table and say, look, the residents do not want this. Once they do that, they can actually sit with Redforce and say, the residents don't want you, we are going to cancel the contract. Okay. Now, I'm not a politician, I don't make promises. But if you sit around a table and negotiate, you'll find that there will be a solution. Not a drastic solution, but a solution that we can live with. Now, I asked them, will you do that? No. That will cost 42 million to get out of the contract. Well, if you think of it, it's only 2 months' salaries for this lot, so possibly it can happen. And yeah, we sit. Now we're trying to do something. And my colleagues, they want to crash it out. All good and well. Negotiation and talking about it and getting down to the nitty-gritty and maybe hiring a debt collecting section in the finance department will work. This is one problem. This is one problem, but there are many solutions. And not Redforce. That is not the solution. But it is your good right to sign a petition, get everybody on board, take that petition, walk up to the mayor's office and hand the petition to them. Give them a deadline. Say, we want it. Throwing stones and doing all kinds of funny things doesn't work. Do it the democratic way, do it nicely, but do it. Thank you.